How much does it really cost to start a Shopify store in 2026? If you Google that question, you'll see $29 a month plastered everywhere. And that number is doing a lot of damage. Hey everyone, I'm June with Branvas, and today we're breaking down the real cost to start an online store, line by line, no fluff, no sugarcoating. Whether you're looking to sell jewelry online, start a dropshipping brand, or launch a private label business, this video is going to save you from some very expensive mistakes. Let's get into it. So, let's start with that famous $29 a month number. Is it real? Yes. That's what Shopify's basic plan costs when you pay annually. But here's the thing, that $29 gets you a platform. It gets you a place to process transactions and host your site. It does not get you a brand, a marketing engine, or a single customer. And yet, agencies, app developers, blog writers, they all lead with that number because it gets you through the door. Then the real costs reveal themselves later, and you're already committed. Here's what actually happens when people launch on a shoestring. They skip email capture, they skip tracking pixels, they use DIY product photos that look like they were taken in a dimly lit kitchen, and then they spend $500 on ads sending traffic to that store. What do they get? Nothing. No conversions, no useful data, no lessons learned, just a burned budget and a bruised ego. The cheapest launch is almost always the most expensive long-term because it skips the infrastructure that actually converts visitors into buyers. So if $29 a month isn't the real number, what is? Stick with me. We're about to break the whole thing down. All right, so to make sense of all this, we developed something called the Branvas 3 budget framework. It breaks the startup journey into 3 tiers based on your goals and what you can realistically invest. Tier 1 is the bare minimum launch, $250 to $500. This gets you technically live. Platform fee, a domain, a free theme, a couple of basic apps, and maybe a tiny ad test. It's not really a sellable store yet, but it puts you on the internet. This only makes sense if you're bootstrapping a side hustle and you truly have zero risk tolerance. Tier 2 is the realistic validation budget, $1,500 to $3,500. This is what it actually costs to properly test 1 to 3 products, get real traffic, and make a data-backed decision within 60 to 90 days. It includes samples, professional creative, essential apps, and enough ad spend to reach statistical significance. If you're serious about dropshipping or private label, this is the tier we recommend. Tier 3 is the serious first 90 days budget, $5,000 to $10,000 or more. This is for founders who want real traction from day one. Premium theme, custom branding, a full app stack, a substantial marketing budget, and if applicable, inventory. This tier is about building a brand quality experience and having a clear path to profitability. Now let's zoom in on every single cost line so you know exactly where your money goes. Okay, so here's where it gets real. Let me walk you through every cost a Shopify founder will actually face in 2026. First, your Shopify plan, $29 on the low end, up to $299 or more for advanced. Domain name, $10 to $20 a year, whether you buy through Shopify or a registrar like Namecheap. Theme, you can go free with Shopify's Dawn theme or spend up to $400 on a premium option like Turbo or Prestige. Logo and branding, anywhere from $15 on Fiverr to $1,500 plus with an agency. Then there are product samples, $50 to $500 or more. And yes, this matters even for dropshipping. You cannot sell something you've never seen or touched. Product photography can range from free if you DIY it to $1,500 plus for professional lifestyle shots. Apps, your essential stack might be free or run you $150 a month for things like reviews, upsell tools, and page builders. Email and SMS platforms like Klaviyo start free but scale with your list. And then the big one, paid advertising, a minimum viable test budget starts around $300 a month but can easily hit $3,000 or more across Meta and TikTok. Don't forget your returns and refunds reserve. Budget about 5 to 15% of projected revenue. And always include a contingency buffer of 10 to 15% of your total budget. Non-negotiable. When you roll all of that up into the 3 tiers, bare minimum is $250 to $500, realistic validation is $1,500 to $3,500, and serious first 90 days is $5,000 to $10,000 plus. Those are the real numbers. Now, let's talk about dropshipping specifically, because there's a huge misconception here. People hear no inventory and they think, no cost. Not true. Yes, dropshipping eliminates the need to buy inventory upfront, pay for warehousing, or take on stock risk. That's a real advantage. But you still have to run a business. You still need to order samples, because you cannot sell a product blindly without testing its quality. You still need creative production, your ads need real content, and supplier photos almost never cut it. You need a traffic budget because without SEO traction, you're paying for every single visitor. And you need dropshipping-specific apps like DSers, AutoDS, or ZenDrop to automate fulfillment. Here's what a realistic dropshipping budget looks like for the first 90 days. Shopify plan for 3 months, about $87 on basic. Domain, $15. Dropshipping app for 3 months, around $60. Product samples for 2 to 3 products, $150. Creative production, whether that's UGC creators or DIY tools, $200. And paid ads, about $1,000, which is enough to test audiences and creatives. That totals roughly $1,500. And here's where most dropshippers go wrong. They underinvest in product quality validation and overinvest in ad spend before they even have a proven creative. That's completely backwards. Spending $150 to $300 on samples and creative testing before you scale your ads, that is the highest ROI move in a dropshipping budget. Get the product and the content right first, then scale. All right, now let's walk through a real worked example. A founder launching a private label jewelry brand on Shopify using a brand as a service model like Branvas. This is for anyone looking to start a jewelry brand without holding inventory. Month 0 is your pre-launch setup. Shopify basic plan at the annual rate, $29. Domain, $15. Free Dawn theme, $0. A logo from a freelancer, about $150. Product samples through Branvas, $100. Professional lifestyle product photography, $300. That brings your month 0 total to about $594. Then months 1 through 3 are your validation phase. Shopify for the remaining 2 months, $58. Apps like Judge.me for reviews and a basic email tool, about $45 at $15 a month. Paid advertising across Meta or TikTok at $500 a month. That's $1,500. And a returns buffer of $200. Your months 1 through 3 total comes to roughly $1,800. Add it all up, and your total 90-day budget is about $2,400. Now, here's the key advantage of using a private label fulfillment partner like Branvas versus managing inventory yourself. There's no minimum order quantity, no warehousing fees, no packing materials to buy. You brand it, you sell it, and Branvas handles the sourcing, the private label packaging, and the blind fulfillment. That's capital efficiency, and it means more of your budget goes toward creative and customer acquisition, which is exactly where it should go. Okay, so what if you're tight on budget? Where can you actually cut? And where will cutting cost you more in the long run? This is important. Here's what's safe to cut. Premium themes. A $400 theme on day 1 is unnecessary. Shopify's free Dawn theme converts really well. Expensive branding. You do not need a $2,000 agency logo before you've validated anything. A clean, simple logo from a freelancer works perfectly at this stage. And paid apps, limit yourself to the essentials. You do not need 15 paid apps in the first 30 days. Now, here's what's dangerous to cut. Product samples. Never skip this. Selling a product you've never held in your hands is how you end up with terrible reviews and a sky-high return rate. Basic email capture. Even if you use free tools, you must be capturing emails from day 1. Your email list is your most valuable asset. Contingency buffer. Unexpected costs always come up. Always. And your ad budget, organic traffic alone rarely validates a new store fast enough. You need paid traffic to get real data. We see this pattern at Branvas all the time. Founders spend $800 on a premium theme and a fancy logo before they've sold a single unit, and then they have nothing left for ad testing. Your brand won't save a product that nobody ever sees. Prioritize testing over aesthetics in the early days. Let's quickly break down the Shopify plans so you pick the right one from the start, because this affects your monthly burn rate and your transaction costs. The starter plan is $5 a month. It's made for social media selling without a full website. The credit card rate is 5%, so it's really only for super lightweight setups. The basic plan is $39 a month, or $29 if you pay annually. Credit card rate is 2.9% plus 30 cents, and if you use a third-party payment provider, there's an additional 2% fee. This is the plan for most new stores. The Grow plan runs $105 monthly, or $79 annually. You get a slightly better card rate at 2.7%, and the third-party fee drops to 1%. This makes sense once you have a small team and need more staff accounts. Advanced is $399 a month, or $299 annually. Card rate drops to 2.5%, and the third-party fee is just 0.6%. This is for scaling brands that need custom reporting. And then there's Plus, starting at $2,300 a month with negotiable rates. That's enterprise territory. Here's the verdict. For 95% of new stores, the basic plan is the right choice. You only need to upgrade when your transaction volume makes those lower credit card rates mathematically worth it, or when you need more staff accounts. Don't overspend on your plan before you're making sales. If you're launching a jewelry or accessories brand and you want to skip the inventory risk entirely, head to Branvas.com. Links in the description. Branvas handles sourcing, private label branding, and fulfillment, so you can put your budget where it actually matters. If this video helped you understand the real cost to start a Shopify store, hit that like button, subscribe for more e-commerce breakdowns, and drop a comment telling me, what's the budget you're working with for your first store? I'd love to hear it. I'm June. See you in the next one.